Hi, I'm Dr. Abby Bleistein, and I'm here today with Priscilla McElveen, and we are talking about that this month is actually the Child Obesity Awareness Month, and so we are trying to post information about getting children fit and healthy. And so Priscilla is actually a certified trainer, but she's also a exercise therapist, and so she's certified in working with adults and has worked with kids as well. And I wanted to talk to her and get her opinion about kids and exercise and getting families to exercise. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So that's great. One of the things that I see with a lot of my patients is that they don't tend to move a lot when we first start, and it's so important to develop the habit of exercise. I wonder, when you're starting with clients who really haven't been in the habit of exercise, how do you get started with people and get them motivated? And
basically, with most of my clients, I end up seeing them and I run them through an assessment. And with that assessment, it goes through basic motions that we do in day-to-day life. I'm a very functional fitness trainer. So, you know, doing sit, stand, push, pull, movements like that. And I kind of assess what's going on in their body and see if there are any, you know, sort of deviations, areas that need to be kind of strengthened, or mobility needs to be added to it or whatnot. And depending on that, I go back to very basic body weight movements. So like bridges or clamshells or what do you call them? Dead bugs, or you know, anything of core activation as well as glute activation, because everybody does not really realize that your glutes are part of your core. So going back to those basic movements to strengthen their foundations, to make their foundations a lot stronger, and then progressively going higher with difficulty from beginner to intermediate. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so if families are going to start working with their kids at home and trying to get them exercising, what's a good way to start? It sounds like maybe doing some coordination work with kids in a fun way might be a good way to start. What kinds of things do you recommend for that?
Honestly, I think my favorite thing to do, and nowadays just because music is everywhere, I love just turning on the music and letting your kid and dancing with your kid, just going, you know, doing different motions that you wouldn't do, maybe interpretive dance in a sense, like what would you do for this song? How would you dance this? And it's something that I used to do as a kid too. I would play music and figure out you know, or make up some dance that I was going to do for it and actually display it for my family the night after I've made up these dances. And I feel like kids get more motivated to move around because you know, they have the beat, they have you out there dancing with them, so like, okay, mom, dad, this is cool, they're doing it with me.
Yeah.
And it also brings the family together to do a more, you know, fun family active event. You can do it anytime during the day.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And you know, I have two boys, and so sometimes you think of boys not really enjoying that, but if I put music on and I start getting goofy and dancing and pulling them and having them dance with me, they actually really enjoy it, and we're just all laughing and having a good time. So I think dancing is a great way to get kids active, and you know, and you just feel great afterwards.
You
do.
What
a fun way to get, you know, to improve coordination. Simple things too. I think like if you have a tennis ball around, you could probably just toss a ball in the backyard for an hour or something. And it's a great way for kids to get coordinated. And you know, kicking a soccer ball a little bit is another way kids can kind of improve their coordination without, you know, before they really are feeling, you know, fit, or if they're not exercising regularly. All those things are things kids could do at any level. So,
but if you want to do something different, your kid isn't really into, you know, athletics or whatnot, just by moving into doing, you know, as I said, dancing and having fun, it kind of gets them becoming body aware too of what they can do. I don't know if you've ever watched those reality TV shows or like talk shows. They have the infant who's maybe 2 years old, and they're kind of mimicking what the infant's doing. And the infant gets so intrigued, it's like, oh, they're doing exactly what I'm doing. Oh, I'm gonna keep doing stuff. So in that sense of becoming body aware is what I love about it the most. And it's fun.
Yes, exactly. No, that's fantastic. And as parents are starting to work with their kids to get them more fit, what are some activities that maybe they can try to do with their kids to get going?
There are a lot of different things you can do. Again, basically getting them moving is number one. And that's the hardest thing, especially nowadays with screens and computers and TV.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more fun to sit here and look at a screen and play a video game. But kind of bringing in back, the whole games that we used to do when we were younger, like hide and seek. Things that make them intrigued, like, ooh, I'm going to be nifty and find the coolest hiding place, or figuring out games that gets them moving would be the best way to start off. And then also having them work out with you. If you're doing workouts at home, body weight workouts are great for kids. So like if you're doing squats or sitting or whatnot, I know kids love doing burpees nowadays, which is so funny because we hate doing burpees. But being cognizant of what they're doing with their burpee and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do a burpee, then you do a burpee, or I'm going to do a squat and then you do a squat, or how about you try doing a push-up with me? And kids get so excited about it because they're trying to compete with their parents.
No, I think that's fantastic.
So ideas of that, if you are working out at home, again, basically all functional movements that you do day to day is what you want to accomplish with them. So sit, stand, push, pull. Don't worry about weights. Body weight is all they need, and that will get them motivated because they're trying to be like you. Follow by example.
And I think that's such a key when you're working with kids, and when I'm working with kids, I really encourage the parents to get involved because role modeling is so important for active lifestyle. We know that kids whose parents exercise are more likely to be active themselves. And so rather than telling your kids, go take a walk, go ride your bike, if you say, let's go for a bike ride, let's go to the park and take a walk, let's go do these things together, they'll be excited to do it because it's time with you, and kids love that time with you. And so it can be really a special time for everybody involved. And I know for myself, if I ask my kids to go take a walk, if it's after school or after work or after dinner, let's go take a walk. The first couple of times I might have to drag them, but after that, they actually really enjoy getting out. And then they start asking me, when are we going for a walk? Let's go for a walk again. And the very nice thing about it is that they actually get really chatty. Kids start to get chatty when you're going for a walk. And so it's really fun, I think, to do these activities, and they start to really open up to you. And if there are things going on that they're stressed about, you hear more about their day. And so it's really a fantastic way to get closer. So not just getting fit, but the family gets closer as well. So, movement really helps with that kind of thing too.
It does. It does. And just being out of the house. Get out of the house.
Exactly. Get out of the house.
Enjoy nature.
So, and I think too, if kids are having a lot of screen time, you mentioned the screen time and putting that stuff away. Again, role modeling is really important with that. Put your cell phone away, put the electronics away, but also thinking about, you don't necessarily need the kids to buy their electronic time with fitness, but think about getting enough fitness so that their fitness at least matches that electronic time. So, and we were talking a little bit about being sedentary, and you just told me an interesting statistic about that, but I'd love for you to share. Being sedentary is really not good for us. So just sitting on these electronics, what kinds of things are they seeing in studies now?
They're seeing a lot of issues. They're saying more than 15 minutes of being sedentary is just like smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
It's very scary.
Wow.
Mainly because of the fact that our fascial tissue and our muscles end up we have these hairs that grow overnight that actually are protecting ourselves, and whenever we move or stretch in the morning, it feels really good. You can feel things kind of moving around. You're actually more cognizant of what's going on in your body. Once those muscles have been moved and you stretch, those hairs go away. Now, if you end up not moving, those hairs don't go away, and they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And so range of motion within hips, shoulders, knees, you name it, will actually become decreased because of the fact that you're not moving. So making sure, even if you're at the office, making sure 15 minutes, get up, walk around, stretch it out. It's very, very important for them to be mobile, especially as kids, because they aren't used to day-to-day activity, or they haven't had injuries yet, hopefully, knock on wood. They haven't had, issues with one side versus the other taking over, things like that we have from what we've done to ourselves being older. So making sure that they're moving and staying flexible and mobile and active is very, very, very important.
And I think that's really critical what you're saying, but just that 15 minutes, these things can change within 15 minutes. And so paying attention to how long have you been sitting still, but how long have the kids been sitting still?
How long have we been
and if they,
sitting
yeah, exactly. Doing this video, we gotta go move. You know, the recommendations currently say, you know, kids should be exercising about an hour a day, 60 minutes a day, which can seem kind of daunting, especially if you haven't incorporated it in your daily routine yet. And so, you know, so what do you recommend about that? 60 minutes seems like a lot.
Especially for, you know, attention span. If you're not going to go for a long hike, I definitely recommend breaking up that hour into 15-minute increments. So, getting them up, moving around, maybe playing a game with them, you know, just doing, like I said, doing the push-ups, sit-ups, whatever you're doing for yourself. And then just breaking out throughout the day. You also have to realize they're at school too. So they're moving around at school, they have play time, so you can add that into the hour that they need to be active as well. But for the most part, breaking it up into small increments is going to be more beneficial for your kid and make them, you know, more
likely to participate
to doing it. So I would definitely break things up.
Yeah, and I think when you break it up, it's not as daunting. So to think about, oh, I'm going to do 10 minutes, you know, so maybe if you want to leave 10 minutes early, you know, for school or something and park 10 minutes away and do that last 10 minutes walking. And it's a great time for you and your kids. It's a great way for you to get your mind set for work when you're walking back to the car alone. And so there are lots of ways that you can kind of incorporate that without feeling like, oh, 60 minutes, I can't do that. I only have 10 minutes. Well, if you only have 10 minutes, you can do stretching, you can do some of the coordination exercises, you can do, you know, jumping jacks or whatever, you can race your kids, you know, to the end of the street and back and stuff like that. So you can get kids involved.
Definitely. Break it up, and like you were saying, you know, you go out to for a walk after dinner. That's great for digestion too. I know you know that.
Exactly.
But you know, doing that so you have something broken up each time of the day for them, and that way they're not dreading their hour, I must go work out or be active.
Exactly. So, and let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of exercises for kids. And so we think about sort of cardio fitness, we think about muscle strength training, and then we also think about bone health and bone fitness. So what are some things that might sort of be cardio that are fun for kids to do?
Suicides.
Describe what that means.
Basically, put up cones, and you can be at a park, and they run as fast as they can to one cone, touch the ground, run back to the first cone, and then they go to the second cone, run back to the first cone, and all the way to the third, and then run back. So it's like they're challenging themselves, and it's also, I know I had this thing when I was a kid, I love to be timed. So you'd be like, how fast are you gonna do this? I think that's the most beneficial for cardiovascular, because it is utilizing you know, your anaerobic as well as aerobic threshold, and instead of just running for a prolonged period of time, it's making it fun. So you're giving them a challenge.
And it's like interval training. So, and you can actually get cones like that. It's like $1 or something at the dollar store, and you can get a stack of them, and there's so much that you can do with them. And I know when I've done that kind of stuff with my kids, you know, we time it, so we don't do it at the same time, so we're not banging into each other. But we time it, and when he beats me, which he usually does, he's so excited about it, and it's really fun for him to beat mom or to beat dad at something. And so, you know, the challenge of it is just becomes a game. It's just a fun thing for him to do. So other things that are cardio would be things like walking or running. Biking would be great. Hiking is good cardio. So all those kinds of things that you can do, and you know, even if you have 15 minutes just to walk or run or you know, do that kind of thing. So and then muscles training for kids, and you mentioned it, but I think, you know, kids don't need added weight, right? So just body weight kinds of things. What are some things that you might do with kids that would be body weight that could be fun to do?
A lot of things that I do, again, are glute bridges, as well as planks. You know, kids love to see how long they can hold a plank, because they can normally hold it longer than us. Doing squats, push-ups. Again, they love push-ups, and you can add in the cardio aspect of the burpee. So big jumping, any sort of plyometric movement. So, you know, jump squats, things like that are great, because they not only, again, work the fast twitch muscles and also add in the cardio aspect, but they also build muscle and bone density. So it's very, very important for them to start that at an earlier age than later.
Because they're laying down that good bone up through adolescence. So we definitely want to have them doing that stuff. So we'll talk about some of the bone stuff in a second, but that strength training is fantastic. And again, you don't have to spend an hour doing it. You could say, you know, oh, we have 15 minutes before we're going out. And I always recommend, say, do this with me. You know, I need help to do this, or I'm not motivated to do this. Come do this with me and let's see how long we can do it. You know, you can do a plank if you're watching TV, or see if you can do burpees through the whole entire commercial or things like that. And so there's lots of stuff that you can kind of incorporate in little small segments of time, but doing it with the kids is really key, that you're not telling them to go do something, but when you're doing it, you bring them in and get them involved, and then everyone becomes healthier together. So
definitely. I do a lot of timed efforts, because if you give reps, you know, that's kind of messes with the psyche. Oh, I have to do 50 reps. What? I have to do 50 reps? So by doing like 30 seconds of work, 30-second break, or you could tag team it with your kids. So like you're doing, you know, 30 seconds of burpees, see how many you can get in 30 seconds with proper form. And then you tag team your son or daughter and say, okay, now you do as many as you can in 30 seconds and go back and forth and do maybe like 5 sets of that. And you really notice how quickly you'll get that heart rate going and you'll get fatigued. So it's a lot of fun to do that. And again, you're working as partner workout, and your kid's getting involved, and you're giving them a challenge to do to beat you. And so it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and it really encourages kids. You'd be amazed as you start to do it. They really enjoy that. So I think that's great. And then the bone strength we're going to touch on a little bit. So bone strength things like gymnastics or strength training like that can be running, jumping, those kinds of things.
All of that. Doing any sort of body weight work will strengthen your bones. People think by taking, you know, calcium, that's the only way to do it. No, just by putting weight on those bones and utilizing them to do those push-ups, squats, whatever, you're actually building the density of that bone as well as strengthening your muscles. So lifting weights is very important, but you can do it with your body weight as well.
With body weight as well, So kids that are doing gymnastics, running or jumping, climbing on a jungle gym, you know, so go to the park and do some climbing and that kind of thing. If you have a local rec center that has a climbing wall, that's a great way to build muscle strength, and that helps the bone strength. So, and you kind of said, you know, taking calcium, and calcium, of course, is so important, but it's, you know, the exercise helps to lay down that bone. So you need the calcium, but you need the exercise so that you're actually building bone, you know, with that resource of calcium.
Very important.
So I think that's fantastic as well. So those are some ideas, I think, about, you know, exercise in kids and getting them involved. And I think the key is really doing it with your kids, that when you role model these behaviors, then the kids will start to do it as well. And they look up to you, and they enjoy competing with you, and they enjoy playing with you. And mostly exercise is play. So, you know, think of it as play and have a good time. Think about when you get together with family or friends, and rather than saying, let's go to dinner or let's go watch a movie, let's just hang out, maybe you want to plan to go for a hike or go for a walk or do things that are active. And so, especially if you have another family that you're close to, you know, go have a picnic in the park and bring a Frisbee and, you know, run around.
Bocce, bring any of those games. They're just blown up like crazy. Can Jam is one of my favorites. It's with the Frisbee, and it has this black, it looks like a trash can, and it has a hole here, and then it has a hole on the top, and again, it's a partner game, but you're throwing the Frisbee, you're trying to get it into that one hole in the front, and you technically win the game. But if you don't, you throw the Frisbee up, and your partner gets to slam it into the can, and you get points. It's kind of like bags or cornhole or whatever you call it. Everybody calls it something different. But it's with a Frisbee, so it makes it so much harder, and it's so competitive, and you're running around, and it's just lots of fun.
That's fantastic. And it sounds like something that you could actually make without spending lots of money on. And
you can use a trash can.
Just use a trash can. That's great.
But again, it's you know, there's so many games that are outdoor games that are coming out more and more. Again, cornhole bags, or ladder ball, which is with the, you know, the golf balls, and it's tied between a string, and you throw it, and you're trying to get it on certain parts of a ladder. there's just so much out there. So
Yeah.
explore it, try it, bring it with your friends, and there's nothing more fun than spending a day outside on a beautiful day and playing games with your friends.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic.
And family.
Yeah. Did you have other stuff that you wanted to add today, or anything you can think of?
I think just make sure that you're having fun. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that you're setting a good example for your kids as well. Don't sit at home and be on your computer, be on your cell phone. I know it's difficult in this time of day because you are constantly trying to make sure that you're doing right for work and staying connected with friends. But give time for your kids, and they'll definitely do the same for you, and we'll make sure that they're staying active and being fun and enjoying their childhood.
Exactly. And to get started, so start thinking about, look at your week coming up and see, are there days where you could do 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes where you're really doing one-on-one time with your kids that you're planning for activity. And so maybe you could go, on the weekend we do have time, so Saturday and Sunday, and I think Wednesday evenings are free. And so plan 30 minutes and incorporate it in, and just make a plan now so that you can start scheduling it. And once you start doing this, it sort of feeds on itself. You're more likely to want to do more of it, and then just gradually build in from there, because once you create the space for it, more space will open up to do it more often. So so I challenge everyone to give it a try, to think about maybe 3 days when you have 30 minutes that you could try one of these games with your kids, or go for a walk, or go for a hike or a bike ride, or call some friends for the weekend and make a plan to do something fun at the park.
And start small. Don't jump into an hour immediately.
No,
it's going to be tough on you. You'll end up stressing about it. So start small, and it will definitely progress from there, and just make it fun.
Exactly. Make it fun.
Make it fun.
I think that's great. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for all of your good advice.
And thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
I really appreciate it. Again, this is Priscilla McElveen, and I'm Dr. Abby Bleistein with Healthful Life MD, and we're celebrating Childhood Obesity Awareness Month and hoping that everyone can get more active.
Definitely.
All right.